Well, £19 million has been raised by the Disasters Emergency Committee earthquake appeal just a day after it was launched to help people in Nepal. With us now is David Bainbridge from the committee. Good to have you with us. Morning. We've heard a lot from our correspondents, various reports, that people are frustrated, very frustrated that aid isn't getting through. What's the priority of those who are out there delivering that aid?
The priority right now is to address the very immediate needs of people affected by the earthquake, and that means clean, safe water, basic food supplies and shelter. I heard just this morning from our Tearfund country team that it rained again very heavily last night, so it's adding to the misery of people who are now homeless. So it's all about basic needs, and it's about reaching those areas that are yet to be accessed because the geography in this situation is so challenging.
Well, you mentioned, as we're just looking at these images now of some of the devastation, you mentioned the immediacy. We're hearing this morning from our reporter in Kathmandu, one 15-year-old boy has just been pulled out from under some of the rubble. That's 4 days after the event. Found under the rubble, I understand. That operation underway as we speak. That is the reality facing the search and rescue operation. Even after this time, there is a possibility that some may be found alive.
Yeah, there is. And of course, families will be living in hope that they can find their loved ones who have still not been located. And the search and rescue operations will continue as long as is possible. But of course, the priority also has to be dealing with those who are now in their hundreds of thousands left homeless and in need of very basic support.
I mean, there is that dichotomy, isn't there? It's about freeing up the infrastructure and so that you can actually use the roads. And many are saying, look, the aid agencies aren't able or aren't providing JCBs, cranes, heavy machinery to help clear the roads. But also water purification tablets are needed and tents, for example. How do you strike the balance? How do you think about that when you're resourcing?
Well, an aid operation of this magnitude requires a very well coordinated response that involves the government, the Nepal government, having a central coordination responsibility, the role of the United Nations and donor governments such as our own, who will provide heavy equipment, who will provide search and rescue, and then the role of members of the Disasters Emergency Committee and the wider aid agency community have key areas of specialism, medical specialism, being able to reach those in greatest need and really make sure that the aid that does go out is targeted to those who really need it the most.
Are you satisfied that the aid is getting to who needs it as best as you can?
It's always a challenge in those initial chaotic days after such a large-scale disaster like this, and that's where the aid agencies they have long-term relationships in Nepal. We have long-term local partner organisations that know the communities where the need is greatest, and they are able to make sure that the aid that we provide and that the UK public has been so generous in supporting really reaches those in greatest need.
OK, David Bainbridge from DEC, thank you very much.
Yes, already £19 million donated to the DEC appeal, as David was just saying. 24-hour donation line for the DEC Nepal earthquake appeal is 0370 60 60 900. That's 0370 60 60 900.
It's 14 minutes to 7. That is our top story here on Breakfast. And more than 100 Britons who were left stranded by the earthquake in Nepal have arrived back in the UK as the UN launches an appeal for those affected.
The leaders of the three main political parties will take part in their last major television campaign event tonight in a Question Time special.
Also coming up on Breakfast, a British worker who has just returned from Nepal will be here to tell us what it was like when the earthquake hit the capital, Kathmandu.
Let's take a moment.